Hi everyone, Ramesh here. Welcome to Spring Boot MySQL JPA Hibernate RESTful CRUD API tutorial. In this video tutorial, we will build a RESTful CRUD API for simple user management application. We will first build a REST APIs to create, retrieve, update and delete a user, and then we will test them using Postman REST client. As we know that Spring Boot is getting more popularity, especially for developing RESTful web services and microservices. Alright, and Spring Boot has taken Spring framework to the next level. It has drastically reduced the configuration and setup time required for Spring based projects. Okay, you can set up a Spring project with almost zero configuration and start building the things that actually matter to your application. Alright, and if you are new to the Spring Boot and want to get started with it quickly, then this video tutorial is for you. So this is the high-level architecture of our Spring Boot project. So client sends a HTTP request to the API layer or controller layer receives the request from the client, and request can be HTTP GET, POST, PUT and delete method. And we use Spring MVC framework to develop a controller layer. And this is the service layer. If you have business logic, then you can create a service layer and you can keep all your business logic inside a service layer. And this is the DAO layer, so you can keep all your database related stuff inside this DAO layer. So DAO layer is basically responsible for to establish a connection with the underlying database, and it perform CRUD database operations. Alright, so this is the typical architecture of our Spring Boot project, and we use Spring Data JPA to develop a persistence layer or a DAO layer, and Spring Data JPA internally uses Hibernate as a default JPA provider. Alright, and we are going to use MySQL database to store and retrieve the data, and we are going to use Postman REST client to test our REST endpoints. Alright, so this is a Spring Boot CRUD REST API design. So here, look at here, these are the 5 REST APIs we are going to develop: get users, post user, get user, put user and delete user. Without further ado, let's switch to the Eclipse STS ID and let us start developing Spring Boot CRUD RESTful web services. I'm in Eclipse STS ID. Let's go ahead and let's create and bootstrap Spring Boot project. Go to the file, new, and choose Spring Starter project. This is the Spring Initializer website which is integrated in Spring Toolsuite ID, and we can use this Spring Initializer to quickly create and bootstrap our Spring Boot project. Alright, and give a name as Spring Boot CRUD RESTful web services, and type as a Maven, and packaging as a jar, and Java version 8 and language Java, and group ID as net.java guides. You can give any group ID that you want, and artifact as Spring Boot CRUD RESTful web services. So this is going to be our application name, and provide a version, keep default as it is, in description, and package net.java at Spring Boot. You can give any package name that you want. Once you are happy with the details, click next and keep Spring Boot version as it is, because Spring Boot team recommended this latest release of Spring Boot project. And here we are going to select a required Spring Boot starter dependencies for our Spring Boot project. So we are going to develop Spring Boot REST web services. For that, let's go ahead and let's pick up Spring Web Starter dependency, and we are going to develop a DAO layer or a persistence layer. For that, we are going to pick up Spring Data JPA dependency. Alright, and we are going to use MySQL database. So let's go ahead and let's pick up MySQL driver. So these are the 3 dependencies required to create our Spring Boot project. Alright, once you fill up all the details, then hit finish. So this will create a Spring Boot project with default project structure. Alright, great. Now if you look at the class here, so this is the main entry point of our Spring Boot project, and this class annotated with @SpringBoot_application annotation. So this annotation is a combination of @configuration, @enable auto configuration, and @component scan annotation. Alright, now what we will do, we create a packaging structure. So let's go ahead and let's create a few packages, right click new and give package name as entity. Alright, now let's go ahead and let's create one more package. Let's name it as controller, and let's go ahead and let's create one more package and name it as a repository. Alright, and let's go ahead and let's create one more package and name it as exception. Okay, great. So this is very simple Spring Boot CRUD REST web service application, and we don't have any business logic in this application, so we are going to skip service layer. So if you have business logic in your application, then you can create a one more package as a service package, and you can keep all your business logic inside a service package. Alright, now our package structure is ready. Let's go ahead and let's quickly create a entity, JP entity. So right click on entity package, new, and then choose class, and let's give a class name as user. Alright, now let's quickly create a fields, private long id, private string first name, private string last name, and then private string email. Alright, so these are the few fields. Let's go ahead and let's quickly create a getter setter methods to access these private fields. Alright, great. Now let's go ahead and let's also create a constructor. Right click source, generate constructor. I am going to skip id because we are going to create id by using auto increment. This is the class. Now we are going to make this class as a JP entity. For that we are going to use JP annotations here. We are going to use entity annotation to make this class as a JP entity. Let's use add table annotation to provide a table details. So here we are going to give a name, table name as users. Alright, and let's define a primary key for our table. So we are going to use add id annotation, and let's define a primary key generation strategy. For that we are going to use generated value annotation here. Inside that we are going to use strategy. Auto increment. Okay, and if you want to give a column name, then we can use add column annotation, and you can give a column name like this, first underscore name. Alright, here we actually specify name equal to like this, and let's copy this, and here let's give a column name for last name as well, last underscore name, and this is email. Alright, that's it. We have created user JP entity, and this will be mapped to a relational database table, that is users, and these are the fields, and these are the columns which will map to these fields. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and let's create a repository. Right click on repository package, new, and then create interface, and just give name as user a repository. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and let's extend JPA repository, and just pass type as user and id as long. Okay, great. Now let's annotate this interface with add repository annotation. Alright, so that Spring will automatically scan this as a Spring bin during component scanning. Now our repository is ready. So this will basically provide a CRUD database operations for user entity. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and let's configure MySQL database. So under resource folder you can find application.properties file, and here we need to configure properties. For example, look at here, this is the JDBC URL for MySQL database, and this is our database name, that is usersdb, and this is the username and password for MySQL database, and this is the Hibernate dilate for MySQL database, and this is the property we use to create database tables automatically during application startup. Alright, it's pretty simple application.properties. So once we configure MySQL database, then we need to create a database in a MySQL server. For that I'm going to use MySQL Workbench. So this is MySQL Workbench, and here I'm going to create a database. Create database, and name of the database is usersdb, and execute this statement, and you can see here database is created, usersdb. Alright, so what we have done, we have configured MySQL database in Spring Boot project, and then we have created a database in MySQL server. Now let's go ahead and let's create a custom exception. Right click on exception package, new, and then choose class, and here give a custom exception name as resource not found exception. So we use this custom exception in controller layer. So whenever we develop REST APIs and if user not exist in a database, then REST API will throw this custom exception. Okay, that I'm gonna show you while creating REST APIs. So this exception should extend a runtime exception, and here we are going to annotate this class with @response status, and if resource not found, then we just return status as not found, right? For that I am going to just provide HTTP status as not found here. Okay, great. And here what we'll do, we'll create a constructor public resource not found, and then what we'll do, we'll pass a message here because we need to pass a message while throwing the exception. And here what we will do, I will use a super keyword to pass this message to the super class. Okay, great, that's it. And here we need to just create a serial version ID. Okay, so this is our custom exception. Alright, now what we'll do, we'll create a REST APIs. For that, go to the controller package and right click on it, and new, and then choose class, and here give a name as user controller. Okay, and annotate this class with @REST controller annotation. So this annotation is a combination of @controller and @response body annotation, and we use this annotation to create a REST APIs. Alright, and we are using Spring MVC to develop this controller layer. Here what I will do is, I will just first create a skeleton for our REST endpoints. So we are going to create all users, okay, get all users API, and then we will create a get user by ID REST API, and then we'll create save user or create user REST API, and then we'll create update user REST API, and then we'll create delete user by ID. So these are the 5 REST APIs that we are going to develop. Now let's go ahead and let's use @request mapping annotation here and provide a path for all the REST APIs. So I'm going to give as /API /users. Now let's go ahead and let's auto-wire user repository. Okay, let's inject user repository using auto-wire annotation. We are going to use all the CRUD database operation from user repository interface. Now let's go ahead and let's create API, that is get all users API. So this will return a list of user objects, and I'm going to give a name as get all users. Okay, great. And here we just return user repository dot find all, right? So find all method returns a list of user objects, and let's annotate this method with get mapping annotation. Okay, great. This is straightforward API, nothing fancy here. Now let's go ahead and let's create get user by ID REST API. It's pretty simple. Just create a method public user and give a name as get user by ID like this, and here we need to annotate this method with at and get mapping annotation, and here we need to pass ID here like this. Okay, this is the path variable, and we are going to use path variable annotation here. Alright, and value equals ID. So look at here, this ID and this ID should match here, and this is type long, and this is the user ID. Okay, great. Now what we will do, we return a user object. Alright, for that I'm going to call user repository dot find by ID and pass user ID here. So basically this will return optional. Okay, so look at here, find by ID returns optional, and we need to call dot get method. Okay, and we are also going to throw the exception if user is not existing in a database for this ID. For that, what we'll do, we'll use or else throw a method, and here we just write the lambda expression, a new resource not found exception, a resource not found exception, and here I'm going to just pass the message like user not found with ID. Here just give a user ID. Okay, that's it. Let me break this so that let's enter semicolon. Okay, that's it. So what we have done, we have just retrieved a user object by ID, and if user is not present in a database, then we throw the exception like resource not found exception. Pretty simple, right? Now let's go and let's see how to create a post REST API. For that, what we'll do, we'll create a method again, public and user, create user, and here what we'll do, we'll use @request body annotation. So this will map directly to the user object. So the JSON will directly map to the user object, and we are going to use @post mapping annotation. Okay, great. And here what we'll do, we'll just return this dot user repository and dot save method. So this will save user object into a database. It's pretty simple, right? Great. So now let us see how to develop put REST API, that is update user REST API. For that, I'm going to again create a method here, public user update user. Alright, and I annotate this with @put mapping annotation, and I'm going to pass here a path variable, that is ID. Okay, great. And then here I'm going to use again request body annotation. This is the user and user, and then I'm going to again use path variable annotation to bind a path variable to the type, that is long user ID. That's it. Alright, now let's update the existing user object. So first what we need to do is we need to get a user object from the database, and then we update it, and then we again save to the database. For that, what we will do, I am just going to copy this code. I am going to paste here. So this will return a user object, right? So I am going to get a user object. So this is the existing object. Okay, so this is the existing object from the database, and this is the new object that we are going to update. Existing dot set. So if we are going to update first name, then set the first name here. User dot get first name, and existing dot set last name. User dot get last name, and existing dot set email, and here I'm going to call user dot get email. Alright, so once you update the existing user object, then let's go ahead and let's save it. For that, call the save method here and pass existing object. Great, right? So what I will do, I'm going to just rename this. Okay, I'm going to call it as existing user, and here we are going to return this updated object to the client. That's it. Pretty simple, right? User update REST API. Alright, so next see how to delete the REST API. It's pretty simple. Again, what we need to do is we need to just create a method here, public response entity, and pass type as a user, and I'm going to call this method name as delete user. Okay, and let's annotate this method with @delete mapping annotation. And here what I will do, I will pass path variable again ID. Pretty simple, right? And here we need to bind this ID. For that I am going to use @path variable annotation, right? Just copy from here. Alright, it's pretty simple. Now what we'll do, so whenever we want to delete the user, then we first get the user from the database. For that I am going to just copy this code. So this will, this will find the user by ID. So I am going to first get existing user from the database, and I will simply delete this user. I am going to call user repository dot delete, and this is the existing user, so delete it. And then what we will do, I will just return here, return a response entity, and type not required here. I am going to call OK, and then build. Okay, so this will return 200 response. It's pretty simple, right? So what we have done, we have retrieved existing user object by ID from the database, and we have deleted that object here by calling delete method. It's pretty simple REST APIs. So let me recap what we have done. We have created a user controller class, we have annotated it with @REST controller and @request mapping annotation, and we have injected user repository here, and this is the get all user REST API, and this is the get user by ID REST API, and this is the create user REST API, and this is the update user REST API, and this is the delete user REST API. So these are the 5 REST APIs we have built. Alright, now this completes our development. Let's go ahead and let's run our Spring Boot project. So go to the Spring Boot application. This is the main entry point of our project, and then right click and then choose run as Spring Boot app. So this will run Spring Boot project as a standalone in embedded Tomcat server. So look at here, embedded Tomcat server is running on port 8080. Alright, and we will test all the REST endpoints using Postman REST client. Alright, so if you don't know how to use Postman REST client, then I'm gonna show you. So this is the Postman REST client provided by Google, and this is the HTTP methods: get, post, put, delete, and we are going to test post method. So choose post here, and this is our URL. Okay, and this is the JSON request body, post name, last name, and email, and choose content type as application/JSON. And look at here, inside body we chosen raw, and then content type as application JSON. Okay, and this is the send button. So once we hit the send button, then this request will goes to post REST API, and post REST API will process this request. So let's go and let's hit send button. So look at here, we got a response. All right, database actually record is created in a database, and that record is written by post API, and that record is we can see in a response here. Okay, with ID 1. Alright, let's go ahead and let's create a few more records. I am going to create post name Tony, last name Stark, Tony@gmail.com. Hit send button, and record is inserted in database, and same record is returned in a response with ID 2. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and let's test the get REST API. Let's choose get HTTP method, and here we are going to provide ID as 1 and hit send button. Oops, we got error. We have created user JP entity, right? Oops, we got an error here. So we need to create a default constructor in user JP entity. So here, look at here, we have created a parameterized constructor, right? But we haven't created a default constructor because Hibernate uses a proxy to create a object. So let's go ahead and let's use a default constructor here. All right, now let's go ahead and let's rerun the application again. Right click, run as Spring Boot application. So now Spring Boot project is running on embedded Tomcat server. Now let's go ahead and let us test this get REST API. Now you can see here we have resolved the issue, and this is working fine now. So we got a response as user object with ID 1. Okay, and if we pass ID 2, then this will return a user object with ID 2. Okay, so this is how the get API works. Now let us test put API. Okay, now we are going to update user 1. So I am going to update username from Ramesh to Ram, and here I am going to just provide Jadhav, and I am going to provide a Ramesh. So let's go and let's send the request. So look at here, the user is updated successfully. Earlier the post name was Ramesh, and then it was updated with Ram. Similarly, last name and email. Okay, so this is how the put API works. Now let's go and let us test delete API. So we are going to delete this user with ID 1. So let's hit send button. So user is deleted from the database. So let's go ahead and let's verify in a MySQL Workbench. So look at here in a MySQL Workbench, from the table first record is deleted. Alright, so what I will do, I will delete second record, hit send button, and second user is deleted and the response is 200. And let's refresh this. So look at here, second record is also deleted from the database. Let's go ahead and let's insert records, and then we'll test get all users REST API. Okay, so this record is inserted. Again, let's insert one more record, Ramesh Padhare, and change email as Ramesh. Let's hit send button. So this will create a record 4, and then again insert one more record, Tony Stark, and then Tony@gmail.com. hit send button. This will create a record 5. Okay, let's verify in MySQL Workbench. So look at here, 3 records are created. Alright, now let's go and let's use a get all users API. So look at here, we got a response as array of objects. Alright, so this is how we basically test all the 5 REST APIs using Postman REST client. Now let us test the negative scenario, like whenever resource not found in database, then we need to send a proper response to the client, right? So for example, let us say if record with ID 8 is not exist, then I'm going to hit the send button. So look at here the response. If user with ID 8 is not present in database, then we got this response. And this is created by Spring Boot, and we can customize this exception handling as per our need. But this looks good, and this is the default exception handling provided by Spring Boot. Alright, great. I think I have covered all the scenarios. I hope you found this video tutorial useful, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Whenever I will publish such videos, you will get notified. And I'm gonna cover a lot of video tutorials on Spring Boot, so consider subscribing. Whenever I will publish new videos, you will get notified. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.